Alright everyone, gather around. Today, I'm gonna tell you all a story. A story about love, life, acceptance, and this stupid bird. Yeah, this stupid pink bird from Twitter. Yeah, we're gonna talk about Garten of Banban. Yeah, just roll. This is the story of Garten of Banban. It was an evening the same as any other. I was either A, slacking off playing Spyro, or B, working on a video. Regardless of what I was doing, I at some point got bored of it and decided to check YouTube for a little bit. Now, I usually don't find myself watching gameplay videos these days, just something I'm not super into. But every once in a while, a video from Fusion Z Gamer pops into my feed. If you're watching this, you should already know who Fusion is. He's an OG FNAF YouTuber who uploads mostly unedited gameplay commentary.
I don't know if there's more to this map than what we currently know, but whoa. What the? Fred Bear? Oh my god, what?
On this particular day, YouTube decided to recommend me one of his videos. However, it wasn't a FNAF video. It also wasn't a Poppy Playtime video. It wasn't even a Hello Neighbor video, I know, right? Shocking. No. The video I saw on my feed that fateful evening was a video on a game I had never heard of before in my entire life. The game in question was called Garten of Banban, and my very first reaction to seeing the big green monster on the thumbnail was, this game can't be real, this can't be real. Naturally, the next thing I did was tell all my friends that this game existed. So I sent over the video, and we laughed about it for a good bit. Now at this point, I hadn't even watched the video yet, so I was literally just going off the assumption that it was some Poppy Playtime Rainbow Friends failed laboratory clone. Which hey, that assumption wasn't wrong in the slightest, but I'm just trying to say, I hadn't actually seen any of the actual gameplay myself yet. The topic got dropped fairly shortly, and I moved on with my evening. But as the evening turned into night, I couldn't stop thinking about that stupid ass game. Had indie horror really gotten this bad? There was no way this game would actually gain any traction, right? What the hell even is a garten? That isn't a fucking word. Do they mean kindergarten? Why are there big green Rainbow Friends rejects at kindergarten? I had too many questions and no answers. So, on that fateful night, where the only big YouTuber to cover the game was Fusion Z Gamer, and I had no clue what I was getting into, I hopped into a voice call with my friend Acid and played through the entire game. Left mouse button to use your toy.
Your toy. Press the left mouse button to collect the Funko Pop.
This game is straight heat, look at that. This is the next Poppy Poop time, yeah, for sure. Look at all these Rainbow Friends characters they made, so cool.
Oh no, these are Blocko's... What is this game called?
I think it's called Blocko's Pizzeria.
I think it's called Blocko's fucking...
It's called Garten of Banban.
I'd be in my egg era.
I would be in my egg era if I could find them. Oh, here's one. My crew, my crew, my crew, my crew, my crew.
How long is this game?
Isn't Fusion's video like 40 minutes? Like, it's not that long.
I think this is less. It's 17. It's 17 minutes.
It's the entire game.
Full game.
Yeah, so I'm like, wow, you're probably saying. You played the whole game in one sitting? And while on paper that sounds impressive, the entirety of Garten of Banban can be beaten in less than 5 minutes. So yeah, it wasn't that crazy. Now, my first playthrough was more like 40 minutes, but that's just because I didn't know what the hell I was doing at the start. It's kind of interesting looking. Okay, bye.
What? Wait, turn around. What was that?
I'm not looking around. Oh my god, it's chasing me! Ah! Well, we're dead. What was I supposed to do? I'm not gonna spend time breaking down the whole game, because there's pretty much nothing to talk about here. Garten of Banban is one of the most nothing games I have ever played. And you don't need me to spend 5 minutes talking about why the drone mechanic is terrible and complete missed potential, or why the idea of the location being a kindergarten is completely wasted in favor of a stock Unity building with random pre-made assets thrown everywhere in an attempt to give this game some sort of visual identity, which, spoiler alert, it has none of. The only thing I can truly call its own are the monster models, which are very poorly made and all have this gross vein texture on them. And this isn't gross in the creepy way, it's just gross. Jumbo Josh has a fucking vein texture in his mouth? There was very minimal effort put into any of this. Originally, I had this whole big ass game breakdown written going over all the gameplay and what was bad about it, but I just deleted the whole thing, because the game is genuinely not worth looking at in any sort of critical sense. It's just a waste of time. It was made to try to cash in on the hype of Poppy Playtime and Rainbow Friends with its incredibly uninspired designs and nothing gameplay. And even though the game is free, I can assure you that means nothing. A second game is already in the works. Why it's not a Chapter 2 as part of the same game is beyond me, because I highly doubt it'll have any major gameplay changes from the first one. The second game will 100% cost money, and just like Poppy Playtime, Garten of Banban has a merch shop on the title screen. There is pretty much no trying to hide it here. This game was a calculated move to try to take over the YouTube algorithm. That's the other part of this. Even if the Euphoric brothers, the developers of Banban, aren't making much financially from Banban right now, I highly doubt that was their main incentive right now anyway. The game being free means more people can play it, and the higher chance it has to take over YouTube and get exposure and popularity that way. Once those seeds are planted, they can easily capitalize monetarily in the future. This game was made for attention, and it was made for that sole purpose alone. You cannot tell me passion was put into any of this.
Something really small, but it wouldn't make it.
Where's Goobus Boobus? He's gonna walk up. Burp.
What the f was that?
He just burped.
Oh, I forgot that's like the whole part.
Why do you have veins?
That goes deep. That's awesome.
Is that really the end of the f***ing game? However, even though the game is awful and uninspired, my first time playing through it that night wasn't the worst thing in the world. In an ironic sense, the game is actually pretty funny. Chairs and tables have insane physics that make you fly up into the air and do all sorts of wacky shit. Opila Bird is actually just hilarious, and the way it walks around is easily the funniest thing I've ever seen in any indie horror game ever.
Oh my god, that is so terrifying!
When you die, a random letter is thrown on screen, which probably spells out something, but I couldn't figure it out. However, the idea of a game over screen just being the letter R is so dumb that it's funny. You can bring random chairs and other objects to the end of the game, and they'll be there in the final Jumbo Josh cutscene. The jump scares are broken, and the animation will play anywhere Opila is, so sometimes you'll get a jump scare that is just the side of Opila Bird's head. There is a lot here to enjoy, but absolutely not in the way the devs intended you to do so. And while everything I said before is still true, I somehow left my playthrough of Garten of Banban not feeling terrible, and instead remembering it as more of a comedic and fun experience. And that was the end of it. I hopped out of my voice call and went to bed. Even though Fusion made a video on the game, I didn't really expect many other big YouTubers to do so. I only recorded my first playthrough just in case the game randomly blew up, but I highly doubted it. There had been lots of attempts before this game to make the next big indie horror craze, but many of them just didn't catch on. I was pretty confident that Garten of Banban would be completely irrelevant within a couple of days, and that it would just fade away into obscurity. Funny thing I was sleeping, huh? Because all of that was a dream. What actually happened is completely different. When I woke up the next morning, the first thing I did was check YouTube again. What I saw in my feed made me double check I was even awake. Like, this is pinching your skin to make sure you're alive awake. Because Super Horror Bro had uploaded a Garten of Banban video. My first instinct was to screenshot the video along with Fusion's and go to Twitter. I posted a random throwaway tweet with that screenshot and went on with my day. When I checked back on Twitter though, I accidentally created a viral tweet. Tons of replies, quote retweets, the whole shebang. The reason for this is because everyone else was starting to notice Garten of Banban, and more creators slowly dropped videos on it throughout the day. You'd think my involvement with the story would end here, but surprisingly, something that didn't even happen on Twitter ended up taking over Twitter for multiple days straight. That was #BirdUp. So here's the story. I'm on Discord talking with a few people in a private server about my thoughts on the game and my surprise that it was starting to gain any traction. This somehow led to a discussion about the monsters in the game, of which there are only two right now. There's Jumbo Josh, who is the big green guy you see on every thumbnail, and Opila Bird, which is the pink flamingo that appears during the climax, if we can call it that, of the game. The more I looked at the Opila Bird, the more I realized how funny she looked. Her big red eyes, the way she walks around, it's a really funny character. At that point, I think a demon took over me because I decided to change my Discord profile picture to a really crusty ass image of Opila Bird. And after that, I decided to take it a step further and make it an emote to use as well. When I was trying to come up with funny captions to use while sending pictures of Opila Bird, my mind jumped to Bird Up, which I should probably explain what that even means, since the actual context behind this meme has probably been completely lost for the random people on Twitter who saw it. Bird Up is a segment on Adult Swim's Eric Andre show, where Eric Andre runs around in public wearing a full green screen suit. The joke is that he has a bird on his shoulder, and he tells people he's gonna be like, edited out of post, so that only the bird is gonna be there. He uses this to mess with people in public, and of course he's never actually edited out of the final scenes. It's a really funny segment, and for some reason, that's just where my brain went.
Hey, you guys are watching Bird Up, the worst show on television.
Now, my one Discord message could have easily been the end of the joke. It was posted in a Discord that wasn't even public, and I doubt many people there would have spread it any further than a small circle of people. However, like pretty much everything else in this video, that isn't what happened, and soon all hell was about to break loose. Bonzi, who you may remember is the creator of the FNAF fan game Night Stars, took a screenshot of me posting Opila Bird with the caption, "Bird up," while also having an Opila Bird profile picture. This one Twitter post caused a chain reaction of events that led to Bird up trending on Twitter, the devs somewhat acknowledging the joke, and a whole bunch of other shit. If you're in our community and were on Twitter for those days, every single tweet you saw was either a picture of Opila Bird or a meme about Opila Bird. It was Opila Bird constantly. So now Garten of Banban was not only starting to see success on YouTube in an unironic way, my tweet about the game somehow looped back around into all of Twitter, ironically finding this stupid bird hilarious. This also led to a few people on Twitter calling the game satire, and that it had to be a joke. However, personally, I highly doubt this is the case. You're gonna have to take my word for this because the Euphoric brothers kind of backpedaled, but on the announcement post for the game on Twitter, they were originally hiding replies that were making fun of the game. Sadly, I can't show you this because they actually went back and unhid all the replies, but this is pretty concrete proof in my eyes that they were making this game unironically. If you want to argue that they were hiding tweets ironically as part of the joke, then why wouldn't they just keep them there? Them unhiding the tweets just makes it seem like they're trying to seem less butthurt about the whole thing. All of this Twitter discourse leads into the title of the video. This game tricked everybody, from every angle, and here's how. First off, the simple basic monster designs, mixed with the similar traits from Rainbow Friends and Poppy Playtime, made this a prime game for YouTubers, who do nothing but play these kinds of games. And hey, nothing against the grind, but you all fell right into the Euphoric brothers trap. The game was 100% designed to appeal to these sorts of content creators to a T, and it worked. On the other side of things, we have the audience. And no, I'm not talking about the audience of people who watch Garten of Banban videos. A 4-year-old will probably be interested in anything their favorite YouTuber plays. I'm specifically talking about the people on Twitter, the people who watch content like mine, who are more than likely older than 4 years old. Garten of Banban was able to trick many people on Twitter into thinking the game was made ironically, and even if it was made ironically, then it still succeeded in tricking everybody else in the camp that it was made unironically. Whatever way you look at it, Garten of Banban tricked the internet. It tricked me and thousands of others into memeing Opila Bird into relevancy. It gaslit people into thinking that the game was made ironically, and it tricked every single YouTuber into making a video on it, even me. It's kind of funny, because when I made my original tweet, one of the replies was a chart showing what order certain YouTubers would play the game in. First was Fusion, which had already happened, next was Daco, which happened, then it was MatPat, which happened on GT Live, and finally was Markiplier, which against all odds, somehow recently just happened. I would not be surprised in the slightest if the game theory episode on Banban was just around the corner. What the video would even be about, I have no idea. The lore in the game is very nothing, and it seems that most of the story will be featured in the second game, so I am extremely curious what he'll come up with. But I mean, if he was able to make a Rainbow Friends theory, he can do anything. In the end, the true winners here are the Euphoric brothers. They got their big hit, and while it's the most uninspired, mindless game ever made, in the end, they still won. I wish I had more to say, but that's really all there is to it. Like I said, I could have gone through the whole game and tore it apart bit by bit, but it's just genuinely not worth doing. And pretty much every single flaw with the game is extremely apparent just from watching gameplay of it. I guess all I can say is I hope the next game is better. And I also hope my Opila Bird hat comes in the mail real soon, because yes, I ordered one, and no, I don't regret it. And that, my friends, is the end of our story. From humble beginnings on Fusion Z Gamer, to taking over the entire YouTube scene. Garten of Banban is just another example of indie horror taking a steep nosedive into the abyss of nothingness. You know it's bad when a Roblox game like Doors is showing up games like Hello Neighbor 2 and this one. Side note, but man, Doors is really fun, and unironically looks less like a Roblox game than Garten of Banban does. The model for the drone remote looks worse than literally anything made for Doors. It's incredibly funny. Maybe I'll do another video when the next Banban drops, but for now, that's pretty much it. I hope they do some cooler stuff with the drone because right now, it's such a good idea that is executed in the actual worst way possible. And I also hope it's longer than 2 hours for the sake of their bank account because everyone will probably refund it if it's not. Anyway, I'm done. #BirdUp. I've been yeah, and I'll see you all next time.